287 people were said to have been reportedly abducted by bandits who attacked the Kajuru Station community in the Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. The bandits were said to have looted some shops and houses in the community. The attack occurred yesterday evening, just a day after 14 people were said to have been kidnapped by bandits at the Dogon Norma community, also within Kajuru local government area. Police authorities in Kaduna State are yet to confirm the latest attack. However, the chairman of the Kajuru local government area, Ibrahim Gajere, told Channel Television that the bandits invaded the Kajuru Station community at about 9 p.m. last night and took away many residents. He lamented that the constant attacks on Kajuru have left many residents in fear and panic. We've seen some of these attacks, and now we've seen some visits to that area. For example, the Chief of Defense Staff has visited Governor Sani, and with a way of finding a permanent solution to the situation in Kaduna State that has left many abducted and citizens of different states also in panic. And of course, we also saw the visit of the Inspector General of Police last week. Some members of the National Assembly had also visited the governor in a way to commiserate and also lend their voice in helping or finding lasting solution to the abductions that have been experienced in the past days.
Troops are already moving to check out what's really going on there. But we just want to assure the citizens that, sometimes terrible things do happen, but these are things that will make us stronger. What we require is that all Nigerians should put hands together, support the military and other security forces. We are working tirelessly to ensure that we stop these acts of criminality. Abduction, as we know, is a social activity. People are doing it for their own sake. Some are doing it to bring down the government, to make the government look weak. But we guarantee that this will end. We are doing everything possible to ensure that we achieve success, and we will achieve success.
Let's get a sense of what is going on. The governor, Senator Sani, will be speaking with us on the program. Let's get a sense of what is happening on the ground. But before I get the governor right to speak with us, let me give you an understanding. Kaduna State, in terms of landmass, is the fourth largest. That's Niger has the largest landmass in Nigeria with 76,000 square kilometers, followed by Borno State, Taraba, and Kaduna comes at the fourth with 46,000 square kilometers. Let me give you an understanding also, because this context is very important in all of the conversation. For those of us who have lived and who reside in some parts of the country, we may not really understand the terrain of some of these places. Maybe we might be able to gain some understanding of what the battle really is and how we can solve this problem. Now, Kaduna State, of course, has that huge landmass, and it has the highest part of the Nigerian plain. Kaduna State is thought to have a huge land area, the Sudan Savannah, which contains trees and shrub, and is what gives Kaduna State its distinctive vegetation. The state is bordered by hills and forests around it, and of course the mountains, which also serves, and the rivers also, which serves as waterway, is located in the heart of the northwestern region of the country. And in the past few years, there's been some of these abduction and attacks by some of these bandits who have now used and taken advantage of the huge vegetation in that area as hiding spot when they do the abduction. Senator Sani, who is the executive governor of Kaduna State, joins us live from Kaduna. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And our heart goes out to the victims of these abductions and their families who have now been left in this kind of quagmire, and emotions are, of course, very high right now. But give us an understanding. The latest that we're hearing, apart from what happened in Shikun, specifically in Kurewa School, where 287 persons were abducted, Kajuru is the latest. yesterday and then today. What is the update? What do we know now?
Thank you very much, Sean, for having me. You said it all. Before, you made your own analysis, even before asking me questions. So I believe that, like you said, Kaduna, we have a lot of borders with states that have a large forest. Like we have a border with Niger State through Beningwari local government, Mokwa. Then Niger State is one of the largest forests we have in the country. Then we also border Katsina, we border Zamfara, and of course from southern Kaduna we bordered Nasarawa, and to some extent, so these are the states actually that we bordered. And if you look at the borders, you will agree with me that the large forests around those areas where when this incident happened, we sat down many times with the service chiefs, both the chief of the air staff, the chief of army staff, the inspector of police, the NSA, the chief of defense staff. I met all of them, and I can say that all of them visited Kaduna, and we sat down. Apart from that, I also visited them. So we're looking at the situation critically, and of course, you'll agree with me that most of these incidents happen now around the northwest because of the borders we share with Zamfara. Some months ago, it was Zamfara State and Katsina State. Now it's Kaduna State. A few months ago also was Niger State. So I think, like I said, it must be a holistic approach. There must be a regional approach to this issue. And of course, we sat down with National Security Advisor just a few days ago, with all the service chiefs were there also, and the Director General of the SSS, as well as the Inspector of Police, and northern governors. We look at the issue critically. We came up with some ideas on how this issue can be tackled. And I will also agree that security issue is everyone's responsibility. But again, we also lamented the problem we're having of lack of boots on ground. You will agree with me that the number of military we have, the armed forces generally in Nigeria, are less than 200,000 as we're speaking. And of course, the entire number of the police in Nigeria are less than 400,000. And we're a country of over 230 million. In my opinion, I don't think we have enough boots to be able to cover most of these ungoverned territories or areas within our country, particularly northwest and some part of the north central, as well as the northeast, and even other part of the country. So these are the issues, and of course, like I said, we've been working closely with the relevant security agencies. Even today, the Chief of Defense Staff visited Kaduna. And of course, you know that the Chief of Defense Staff is from Kaduna State. And there are a lot of attacks also in southern part of Kaduna, where the Chief of Defense Staff comes from. So he's also worried. And I made it clear to him that we need more boots on ground. And of course, because most of these attacks, if you see the situation, you will agree with me that most of the people or the areas, only the military can be able to assess most of those areas. I don't think any other person can assess most of those forests except the military, particularly the Air Force. That's in my own opinion. So this is where we are. But we are trying our best. We are working with them. And of course, that's for now, that is what's happening.
All right.
But we are working, we are trying.
Your Excellency, give us an understanding. The Kajuru attacks of yesterday and today, are there confirmations? Can you speak authoritatively on what happened? How many persons, the figures of those persons have been taken?
I cannot speak authoritatively because I don't believe in speculations, because security issue is something that we must be careful about. Because you see, only last week I made it clear to the media to be very careful, because this issue of being very sensational, the way they report these issues are really unfortunate because only this morning, before this interview, he was having conversation with the Commissioner of Police, the GOC, One Mechanized Division, as well as the Director SSS. Even until this moment, we have not been able to have the actual number of people. So, but media will quickly call people within a particular community that have no information, they don't know anything about the situation, and they will just mention numbers, and you go to press. So for me, in my opinion, that has to stop. We should allow the security agencies to come with the verified information before we go to the media. And you'll agree with me, even as a governor sitting here, you know the Constitution very well because I'm a lawyer. Even myself as a governor, I don't have the powers to instruct even the GOC, or to give orders to the Chief of Army Staff, or to give order to the Commissioner of Police, or even to the IG of Police. So we have to rely on them to give us information. And of course, the only thing I can do was what we did last week, when the IG came and I pleaded with him to be able to set up a mobile base in Kuriga, and he obliged. And as we're speaking today, he sent some numbers of mobile with an APC to come to Kaduna to also look at the situation critically. So for me, it's something that we will continue to talk to the security agencies, we will continue to talk to the Army, the Air Force, the police, and of course, where they need support, we give them the support. Where they need our cooperation, we give them the cooperation. But like I said, they have their own position.
I mean, one will wonder that things are really getting out of hand. And as a governor, you must be very tired of these attacks. I'm not sure this is what you bargained for. If you're thinking about governance and development in your state, this could be very distracting, and it's very concerning too. But apart from what the federal government is doing, as a state which has its own territory and it has its own sort of sovereignty within the federation, what are you doing differently from what the federal government, what initiative is the state government putting in place to secure its own people as a first line of defense before the federal government?
No, we're trying our best. Like you know, every state governor can only rely on the vigilance service we initiated. But of course, you know very well the vigilance service we have, they cannot carry AK-47. They can only work with pump action. And most of these bandits, they attack with AK-47 and some sophisticated weapons. So that is where we are. And this is the concern we all raised when we met the National Security Advisor last week. So this is a position. But I will not sit down here and really tell you everything we're doing in terms of our security, because like I don't want to politicize the issue of insecurity in Kaduna State, because you see, but I want to jump because you make a very authoritative statement. Maybe you are not following what is happening in Kaduna. Even today, we came out with a very audacious intervention, and the people of Kaduna State are happy. Of course, we are trying to see what we can do to resolve the issue of insecurity. Like I said, we are talking to the service chiefs. The Chief of Defense Staff was here today, but that has not stopped Kaduna State from working. We are not going to give up. Today, we came up with 11.4 billion empowerment program that at least 2 million underserved, underprivileged and poor people in Kaduna will benefit. I can tell you that about almost 10,000 SMEs benefited to the tune of 4.2 billion in Kaduna State today. Again today, about 8,000 households also benefited with the tune of 50,000 naira each. The SMEs, some gets up to about 100,000, some 500,000, some 1 million naira to be able to improve their businesses. Because for me, governance is about supporting small businesses, improving the level of their economic prosperity. That's what we've done. And you might be, I don't know whether you've also followed what we are doing in Kaduna. Only 2 days ago, we were able to do a groundbreaking of 327 kilometers of roads in 3 different local governments, Kaduna North, Igabi local government, as well as Chiku local government, that will also create jobs to the tune of thousands of our people are very resilient. They are determined. You might know that Kaduna, all of us are working close together. We believe in our own state. That's the reason why, as a governor, I'm also working to ensure that we develop our state. The issue of insecurity, Kaduna State people are aware that as a governor, I have my limitation. They are also aware that when I was in the Senate, I was the senator that sponsored the bill to create state police in Nigeria, because I was raising this issue since I was in the Senate. And the Kaduna State people followed me in the Senate. That is why they elected me to be their governor. They know my track record, they know what we are doing. So it may interest you to know that even today, we're able to at least supported our, what do you call it, our pensioners, with at least 3.3 billion that we paid our pensioners. We pay death benefit and gratuity to our very senior citizens of Kaduna State who have worked with Kaduna State government and retire. So that's what, and the total intervention is 11.4 billion. So that's what is happening.
Yeah, Governor.
Of course, we are not just sitting down. We are not we're not sitting down doing nothing in Kaduna. It may also interest you. We are doing a lot in terms of developing our educational standard in Kaduna State. That's the issue. But when we are doing that, like I said, even today, the Chief of Defense Staff came to meet me. He came with his own ideas. He agreed with me that the issue of security is an exclusive issue that has to do with the federal government. We are supporting what they are doing, but we'll continue to support them. But they all agree that we're lacking boots on ground. And that's the reason why, for instance, they're talking about Kajuru. It may interest you to know that when the DSS gave us the report that most of these areas were vulnerable, we reported to the military. But of course, I agree with them that they don't have enough boots on ground. That's why they could not be able to cover that area. So there must be an effort to find a solution to this problem, and it must be collective. You can also come up with your own idea, because they are Nigerian.
Fantastic. I mean, all of these, what a lot of people lose sight of is the fact that insecurity is isolated. It is not. It's tied to human capital development. When people are jobless, when there is poverty, it increases the chance of crime and criminality. But I mean, there was a premise that I laid earlier, Governor Ubasani, but for the sake of our viewers, I try to, myself and my team, tried to put it in perspective. And I'm going to show you a short footage from a Google Earth design, which we give, if you see a vast space with greens, there are some of the forest and the vegetation in Kaduna State. It will give you an understanding. So this is a snap picture, a snap view of Kaduna State on the Google map as the satellite captures it. So it goes down, and we're going to give you an understanding of, you see all those vast green lands. They're mostly, when you see some of the greens, I mean some of the yellow or the brownish, they are the communities where people live. You see some of the greens and some of the vegetation. So you see how vast those vegetations and forest areas are. This is the 8th March abduction, 287 in Shikun. This is a Kuriwa community where the school was attacked. And from that point, of course, you know what happened yesterday and in Kajuru. So you see the distance. And of course, you can have an understanding of the Kajuru area and why perhaps it's vulnerable. The 17th March and the 18th March kidnapping, abductions that we have seen. Some of the figures that we are being told that we can report. So it gives you an understanding. If you see the brownish areas are perhaps the communities where people live. The green areas are mostly the vegetation. And so you could see what could happen. And so, Governor Ubasani, last year, you instituted about 7,000 vigilantes. And one of the strong words that came from your government at the time was that these kidnappers, these bandits, will have no hiding place. Have you been able to activate these vigilantes? Have you been able to equip them also?
Of course, we equip them just like they are equipped in other states, but I can tell you that no state can come up and tell you that the vigilance service we have in our state have enough weapons to confront the bandits we have. in our country. I can tell you that. I want to also refer you back. If you could recall my own statement out, I want you to also recall my statement in one of my interviews with you, where I specifically refer you to Firearms Act of Nigeria. Have you ever read our Firearms Act in this country? You'll agree with me that if you go to Firearms Act that we have in our country that's obsolete for about 40 years, we tried to amend it in the Ninth Senate. It wasn't successful. You will agree with me that vigilance service in Nigeria, wherever they are, they cannot hold AK-47. The only person that can give you a license to hold AK-47 in Nigeria is the President of Nigeria. You better go back and read the Firearms Act. And you come back to me to agree with me that all the vigilance service we have, we can only equip them with pump actions. And these bandits that came to Kuriga, I was there personally to see the community. I sat down with them. What did they tell me? Even our vigilance service wanted to confront the bandits. Within a second, they killed one of them because they came with sophisticated weapons. How do we equip vigilance service that have limitation to the kind of weapons they can hold by the Constitution of Nigeria? So that is what I'm talking about. So yes, we equip them, but I can tell you, we had a meeting with the NSA and the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff. They all agree with me. Vigilance service cannot hold anything more than pump actions. And these bandits, they come around with AK-47 and even more sophisticated weapons. That is where we are. And in any case, that is the reason why some of us are insisting that we need to create state police, because when you create state police, you will give the state police the legal authority through our constitution, because it's to be a constitutional creation to hold firearms, including AK-47. Then those communities can defend themselves. But until this moment, the vigilance service can only work with the military, they can only work with the police and all the relevant security agencies to help them with intelligence, because they are in that community, they know the terrain, they can be able to help them with intelligence, sharing and gathering. But in any case, what we are saying again is that we don't have boots on ground. When we had the meeting, everyone agreed we don't have boots on ground, including the Chief of Army Staff.
So Governor Sani,
we need to find a way forward.
Yeah. I mean, this matter, and because I'm talking to an experienced lawmaker also, not just a governor, you've been in the National Assembly. This matter cannot wait any longer. It's an urgent matter. Don't you think, maybe by an executive order, that this issue of state policing and community police and all of these components could come as a matter of emergency? Is the federal government realizing that?
Yes. Let me tell you, we had a meeting with Mr. President last month, and Mr. President called all the governors, and he agreed with us collectively that the way forward is the creation of state police in Nigeria. And that is the reason why all the governors were asked to write a memorandum toward the creation of state police. And only last week, the leadership of the House of Reps, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, came to visit me to commiserate with the people of Kaduna State, together with the leadership of the House of Reps. They informed me that as we are speaking, the House of Reps are already looking at the issue of constitutional amendment toward the creation of state police. So I'm not surprised. Already, House of Reps are taking the lead, and they're working toward that. That was from the Speaker of the House of Reps. I'm sure I listened to him when he visited me in Kaduna last week, and that is a position. And I also believe the Senate are also looking at that. And of course, I believe the federal government, through executive bill, will certainly also initiate the process. So both the National Assembly and the executive are working toward that. So what are we talking about?
So, Governor, you know the reason why I'm talking about the matter of,
Everyone is in the agreement. And let me tell you, because like you said, I was in the National Assembly, and it may interest you to know that when I was in the Senate, I sponsored a number of bills. And when on the Senate, 3 of my national bills were assented that became law in Nigeria by President Buhari. I was the person that amended the Welfare Act, Banking and Other Financial Institution Act that was obsolete for 29 years. But I was able to amend that. I also was the person that sponsored the AMCON Act, Amendment Act. We did it within a matter of a month, and President also assented to that. This is a very important issue, and I can tell you it can be done.
Yeah,
in less than a month.
Yeah, that's why I was asking that question, because I know if it's a matter of emergency, it can be done. And because of the fact that this issue of security cannot wait. And we cannot have these bandits and all these destructive elements keep killing and maiming and abducting innocent citizens. That's why I'm wondering, if this is the case, it's so much of a helplessness that you are in right now. You cannot help yourself because the laws does not allow you to be able to do some things. So what do you do to protect your people, Governor Sani?
That's what exactly we're doing. But of course, we cannot take laws into our hands. Like I said, I was a former lawmaker, and of course, I'm talking to my people. And I can tell you, Mr. President is worried, is concerned. I speak with Mr. President twice daily on this issue, and he shows a lot of concern. He's committed. I have tremendous belief in what Mr. President is doing. I also believe in the armed forces. I have no doubt in my mind we will be able to overcome this problem. Because I can tell you, when we had that meeting with the NSA and service chiefs, everyone is concerned. Everyone is worried. Mr. President is worried. When I met him, and he calls me twice daily to ask me about, sometimes 4 times in a day. That is the reason why I believe he's worried, he's concerned, he's determined, and I can tell you, I have no doubt in my mind, Mr. President, under his able leadership, we will address this problem of insecurity in Nigeria. It's a matter of time. We will address it.
So we're due for a break, but I'd like to ask you this. You probably implied that the bandits probably will now continue on this rampage until a permanent solution is being found. And at least the governor remains helpless because of what the law says, especially because of the superior firepower of these bandits. What did the NSA say?
That show, before you conclude that is your own assumption. I didn't say that. We are just having conversation. Let me even tell you this. There are many things I cannot tell you on the television. You know why I say that? Because we are doing a lot, but I will never disclose it here. You know why I won't disclose it here? Because security, like I said, is not politics. I will not politicize the lives of the children that have been kidnapped. But I can tell you, we are making a lot of progress. I will not disclose it here because for me, it's not a matter of popularity contest. It's a matter of the security of lives and properties of my people. Why should I come here and talk about what we're doing? I'm only telling you some of the interventions that we need. But what I'm doing with my community, with the people, I will never tell you.
So we can get an assurance from you, and the Kaduna people watching tonight, Governor, can get assurance that those who are kidnapped will get back home safely. Is that right?
I can tell you without any fear of contradiction. All the children kidnapped, by the grace of God, they will return back home safely. Put it down. I'm not telling you this, by the grace of God.
All right.
And I can tell you, we're determined. We're serious. We know the important responsibility of the government is the protection of lives and properties of the citizen. I know that. I'm not only a governor, I was a former lawmaker. I know the law, and I know everything. So for information, don't just run into having a kind of idea that we cannot do it. We will do it. But I will not disclose to you what we are doing. That was the reason why a few days ago I was cautioning media. Some people are even jubilating because of the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. You know, let me even tell you, that is the reason why some people have rushed into thinking that there's conspiracy in these issues. People are even coming up with some ideas that why are some people jubilating because of insecurity. Look, whether we like it or not, Nigeria is our own country. Kaduna is our state. We will work together to salvage this situation, and we will find solution. I have no doubt in my mind, I'm determined, and we will find solution to this problem. It's just a matter of time.
All right.
That is my position.
Yeah, we're due for a break. It's in the holy month of Ramadan, and our prayers are with those who are with these bandits and these criminal elements, and hopefully the state and the nation will supersede or will overpower them and get back the innocent people who are with them. But we'll go on a break. But when we come back, our conversation will continue with Governor Sani, and it's about the security of the nation, especially as it concerns Kaduna State. They're seeing this spate of attacks in the past days. Governor Sani will be talking more on the efforts to halt these abductions. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. We've been speaking with Senator Sani, the executive governor of Kaduna State, over the state of security in that state, and of course some of the solutions that could also be helpful for the nation at large. Is one of the advocates of state policing in Nigeria. And before we went on that break, he was giving an assurance about the safe return of those who have been abducted. We saw one in Kuriwa school in Shikun local government area, and back-to-back in Kajuri local government area. One last night, and another one where over 80 persons we are hearing have been kidnapped. Thank you so much, Governor Sani, for your time tonight. And we will take your word as an assurance. Hopefully some cheering news will be coming out pretty much soon. But let me remind our viewers tonight of what the president said when you had a meeting with him. This was the outcome of that meeting about forest guards. Take a listen, everyone, to what the outcome of the president's meeting with the governors a few days ago.
Mr. President and the state governors have also discussed the possibility of improving the numeric strength of forest rangers, to train them so that they can keep our forest and our borders very safe. Now, there is also a discussion around the issue of state police. The federal government and the state governments are mulling the possibility of setting up state police.
So that was, you remember that that soundbite, Governor Sani, and so one would think that there will be taking it forward. Those who are also responding to the conversation here, who are saying maybe the president can grant some immediate or temporary approval for these forest guards to carry AK-47. Maybe it's something governors like you who need it urgently can ask the president to grant maybe a waiver or some temporary approval for them to carry some superior weapons that can match and fight these bandits. Is it possible?
Look, I will not go into that kind of conversation with you, because as a lawyer yourself, you know that is more of a speculation, because that meeting you are referring to was a meeting that took place about 3 months ago. It wasn't, if you look at their record, you will agree with me that it's around 2 to 3 months ago that this incident, that meeting happened. But I was referring to a meeting we had with Mr. President just about 2 weeks ago. So I think even as I'm overtaking the other meetings you were referring to, I was in that meeting also. If you look at it critically, I was also sitting down there with the Minister of Information. I was among the 4 governors that were sitting down there when he granted that interview. But we had more than 4 or 5 meetings after that meeting with Mr. President. I was talking to you about the recent meeting where we all agree collectively that the way forward is the state police. And of course, even nobody can grant anyone any right to hold any firearms except you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that's the reason why, like you as a lawyer, you will agree with me that we need a quick constitutional amendment. That can be done, like I said, in less than a month. That is a position. So we all agree collectively. And of course, most of these questions, I can tell you why I cannot go, I won't go down to explaining to you some of the resolutions because, like I said, I will not politicize the issue of insecurity because I I can't go to NSA and sit down with him and I will discuss things that are seriously concerning the issue of security of our own country, and I will come to say it in the media. That is not right. And I can also go to sit down and talk with the chief of army staff, and I'll come to the media and say this is a strategy. Look, these bandits are also people that are watching and listening to what we're talking about. So you don't go and just try to jeopardize the lives of the children that have been kidnapped. So for me, we have our own area. We know what we're doing. We'll continue to do it. I will want you to pray, like you say you're going to pray. So keep praying. And while the security agencies are also trying their best, Mr. President is trying his best, we are trying our best. Like I said, security issue is a collective responsibility, including you, including the private sector, including the politicians, including the business people, everyone, and including the media. We have to come together to all work in order to help our country to move forward. This is the issue here. It's not about politics. It's not about anyone talking. And let me draw your attention to some things. Some people who just politicize the issue and say, oh, because of this security, they start criticizing Mr. President. Let me tell the truth. The fact of the matter is, we all have to come together and now realize that the children that have been kidnapped are people, are children that we have to always work toward seeing that they return home safely. And for me, that is the reason why I would not sit here and tell you all our strategies, all our plans, what we've been discussing and what we're trying to do. Today, for instance, the Chief of Defense Staff came to Kaduna, but most of my conversation with him that were the closer meetings, I will never disclose here. But we know what we're doing. That's why I'm very hopeful. Right. Yeah. I'm very, very hopeful that these children will come back. But I will not disclose our strategy here. But they will come back home by the grace of God.
Yeah, Governor, just before we wrap up, I'm hoping that the president has not reneged or walked back his word on the forest guards. Has he? Has he changed his position?
Remember, last 2 months, I had an interview with you. You raised this issue, and I gave you an answer. Look, Shewun, let's not politicize this issue. Can we now be serious about this issue? We are talking about the state police. Mr. President is talking about the state police as of today, because that is where we can get the lasting solution to this problem. Stopgap solution are not the issue. Lasting solution is the issue, and we'll get it by the grace of God. And I want you also to support our effort to pray for the safe return of these children, because there could be our children, there could be anyone's children. And that's why I won't sit here, whether they're from Kaduna, whether they're from Ekiti, even whether they're from Anambra, wherever they're from, they are our children. And we should always pray for their safe return.
So, Governor Sani,
politics, yeah. That is the most important thing.
Yeah. Perhaps on this point, I'd like us to anchor. Give us an understanding of what you learned from the residents, who some of them who had some contact with these bandits. For those who do not understand or who had not had a close or a very near-cut experience with some of these bandits, those who believe that some of these elements are not Nigerians, that they don't even speak any language familiar to us. Do you think they are Nigerians or they are not?
Honestly speaking, I don't have that expertise. I always rely on what the service chiefs or the security tells me, but I will ask the security to tell me. Honestly speaking, like I told you, I'm not someone who believes in speculation. I am someone who believes security issues must be handled carefully and cautiously. That's the reason why I will not sit here and say they're from Nigeria, or they're from Niger, or they're from what. All I believe is we will defeat them by the grace of God. Wherever they're from, for me, there are people who must defeat by the grace of God.
Senator Sani, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. We wish you the very best. It's not the best of time. And when things improve, of course, definitely we will all be happy, because what we're praying for as a people in this country is the safety and the prosperity of our country. And I thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. And I wish you the very best. Our prayers are with the people of Kaduna State and your government to make sure that, just as you promised and the assurance you gave tonight, that you will not rest until these people are gotten back. We wish you well and the safe return of these people. Thank you so much indeed, Senator Obasani.
Thank you very much, my brother Sean. Thank you for having me. Thank you.